Fuel prices down across the board. Rapid KL takes extra steps to minimize coronavirus risk. Hello and good evening. I'm Mona Priya. Welcome to News on 2. Now, fuel prices are down across the board from 8 to 14 February due to a drop in global fuel prices. For the first time after a while, RON 95 petrol will be priced at RM2.04 per litre for a week by midnight tonight, down 4 cents from RM2.08 previously, while diesel will be sold at RM2.08 per litre, down 10 cents from before. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng attributed this to a slump in global oil prices, lower than the cap under the automatic price mechanism.
For example, now it's 204. Because it's below 208, it's 204. Okay. But let's say next week it goes up to 210. You will not be at 210. You'll be at 208. So faham kan? So let's say in the following week it goes up to 212, you'll be at 208. But let's say the following week it goes down to 206, then you'll be at 206. So the maximum price rise cannot be above 208.
Briefing reporters today, Lim said the drop would have positive and negative effects. He said the government would see a reduction in income, but it would also spend less on fuel subsidies. RON 97, meanwhile, will drop by 7 cents to RM2.34 per litre. The new prices will take effect from midnight till 14th February. Now, the Health Ministry today confirmed another case of the novel coronavirus, a 2019 nCoV, bringing the total of infected individuals in Malaysia to 15. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, in his daily briefing today, said the patient is a 59-year-old woman from Wuhan who had arrived from Singapore on 17th January with her family before travelling to Johor Bahru on 21st January. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli, the woman initially suffered fever on 26th January and had taken some medication bought from a nearby pharmacy to treat it. She had planned to return to Guangzhou on 4th February but had delayed the trip due to the illness. Her in-law and her son, however, returned to China on the same day via a flight from Johor Bahru. The woman was then transferred to hospital for further treatment.
Pengesahan dan pengesahan 2019 nCoV ini yang dijalankan ke atasnya telah dilaporkan positif pada 6 Februari. Ya, dia datang 5, the next day 6 terbukti positif. Beliau kini dimasukkan ke ward isolasi di Hospital Permai, Johor Bahru, dan dalam keadaan stabil.
The woman's husband, 66, who stayed behind, was also referred to Hospital Permai for observation. This brings the cumulative total of positive 2019 nCoV in Malaysia to 15. Despite not showing any symptoms of the infection, the woman's relatives in Malaysia have had samples taken for tests. Now, Malaysia has been working closely with ASEAN member countries and the World Health Organization to share data and information on the novel coronavirus infections. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the information obtained by the country was shared including via video conference.
Jadi apa-apa maklumat dia ada video conferencing juga dan kita share antara all the ASEAN countries sebab kita tahu sebab ini kadang-kadang sebab virus ni adalah novel baru, kita tidak tahu mengetahui dengan seperinci bagaimana caranya dia infect apa semua tu. Jadi kalau kita ada sharing of knowledge and data, ini akan banyak membantu kita.
The Deputy Premier was met after opening the childcare centre at the Parliament Building, Kuala Lumpur. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport has no plans to ban international cruise ships from docking at ports in the country as concerns grow over the coronavirus outbreak. When met by reporters at Puspakom Wangsamaju today, Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said such a restriction would only be made after receiving recommendations from the Ministry of Health. Loke gave the assurance that visitors coming to Malaysia would have to go through health screenings at all entry points into the country, according to the measures taken by the Health Ministry.
We have not banned any cruise ship, but of course we will take measures to ensure that anyone coming into our country will be checked in terms of their body temperature, in terms of their health condition. So all that will be checked at the gateway, okay, at our shores, at airports, at ports, etc. So all measures will be put in place by the Health Ministry.
He added that the Transport Ministry continued to take advice from the Health Ministry on measures required to curb the threat of the coronavirus outbreak. Rapid KL, meanwhile, has stepped up its cleanliness measures in keeping with the World Health Organization standards in light of the coronavirus outbreak, according to Rapid Bus Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Yazurin. Although there have been no reports of a decrease in Rapid KL's ridership, its management has taken precautionary measures such as using an additional disinfectant to clean the interior of all Rapid buses.
Kita juga bekalkan bus captain kita semua dengan mask sebab dia I think dia orang ni agak terdedah lah kepada a lot of passenger yang naik sebab if I'm not mistaken dekat Japan ada satu kejadian di mana bus driver tu yang caught the virus, so kita nak elakkan lah daripada bus captain kita pun sekali lah.
Apart from this, rapid bus drivers also have their temperature checked before they are allowed to commence their duties. As an added precautionary measure, Muhammad Yazurin said hand sanitizers have also been placed in all airport shuttle buses. Now, those detained for spreading invalid news on coronavirus would be charged in court as quickly as possible. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Badur says the Attorney General's chambers had given its assurance that such cases will be expedited.
So kita ambil tindakan. All this fake news, all this berita-berita yang tidak bertanggungjawab ni yang boleh menyebabkan orang rasa panik akan ditangani serta-merta, dan saya telah mendapat jaminan daripada pihak Peguam Negara, Jabatan Peguam Negara, segala kes-kes yang telah selesai disiasat, kertas siasatan ini diangkat ke sana dan pihak Jabatan Peguam Negara akan segera mendakwa mereka.
The IGP reiterated his warning to all quarters to stop disseminating and sharing unverified news or face legal action. Speaking after attending the duty handover ceremony of the Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department (NCID) at the Police Training Centre in the Federal Capital today, he said the irresponsible action of spreading false news on the coronavirus could cause panic and fear among people. To date, the police have opened 13 investigation papers on the spreading of fake news on social media, and 3 people would be charged in court. Welcome back. A total of 30 million ringgit has been allocated to set up 150 child nursery facilities at government agencies. Now, the allocation is a 3-fold increase compared to last year. The focus this time is at hospitals and schools and other agencies with shift workers. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the ministry, through the Welfare Department, had provided various incentives to encourage the establishment of child nurseries at the workplace. She called on agencies which have yet to apply for nurseries to do so as soon as possible.
Agensi ni bila kita mohon, kita kena check boleh ke tak boleh. Kalau kita kata okey bagi tanpa kita mengetahui bahawa itu kita ada berapa? 36 permohonan sekarang. Tapi kita juga nak fikirkan kalau mereka dah ada pun nak upgrade ke apa ke, dan juga kita nak fikirkan bagaimana kita nak latih mereka yang menjaga anak-anak ni.
Speaking at the opening of a nursery in Parliament meant for Parliament employees who have to work shifts or overtime, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah said as of January this year, 241 nurseries have begun operations at various government agencies across the country. Owners of decontrolled commercial vehicles with a maximum permissible weight of 7.5 tons and below will now be able to renew their motor vehicle license at the Puspakom Sdn Bhd Inspection Centre. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siew Fook says the service has been made available at the Puspakom Inspection Centre since 3rd February. Loke said for the time being, the service will only be introduced for the decontrolled segment, adding that if the service is good and stable, it may extend renewal of licensed services for other types of vehicles at Puspakom from time to time. The services would be introduced in stages at all 53 other inspection centres operated by Puspakom within the next 3 months.
Maksudnya mereka tak perlu pergi ke JBJ untuk renew road tax mereka. Untuk permulaan kita membenarkan untuk kenderaan-kenderaan dikontrol di bawah 7,500 kg, iaitu below 7.5 ton. Ini adalah untuk kenderaan-kenderaan yang tanpa memerlukan GDL, Jadi tetapi ini adalah secara permulaan. Apabila sistem ini dijalankan dengan baik, sudah stable, maka ini akan diperluaskan untuk kenderaan-kenderaan lain pula. Jadi sementara ini ialah hanya untuk kenderaan perdagangan dikontrol di bawah 7,500 kg. Tetapi akan diperluaskan dari masa ke semasa.
Speaking after launching the service at Puspakom branch in Wang Semaju today, Loke said this was one of the many initiatives introduced by the Transport Ministry to provide vehicle owners more avenues for them to renew their licenses of their motor vehicles. That's easy and also can save them time. Coming up, 3 family members killed by uprooted tree. The Kuala Lumpur High Court today dismissed the government's application to forfeit about 192 million ringgit from the UMNO headquarters after ruling that the funds were not from unlawful proceeds sourced from 1MDB. Judge Muhammad Zaini Maslan said 7 cheques amounting to 245 million ringgit received from UMNO's then President Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak were spent in the 13th general election in 2013. Judge Muhammad Zaini said the frozen funds cannot be said to be money received by UMNO from Datuk Sri Najib. He added that the money received from Datuk Sri Najib had long been spent and the frozen sum came from companies and other sources. On similar grounds, Judge Muhammad Zaini also refused the government's application to forfeit 300,000 ringgit from Wanita MCA, Bin Sabi Sdn Bhd 777,250 ringgit and Peranu Sdn Bhd 337,734 ringgit. He, however, allowed Deputy Public Prosecutor Mahadi Abdul Jamaat's application for the money to remain frozen pending disposal of a hearing to stay today's ruling. Mahadi, who is assisted by Deputy Public Prosecutor Samiha Razali, said the prosecution would file its notice of appeal and then a formal stay application by next Friday. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC froze the money from the 4 entities in June 2018 as it was allegedly linked to the 1MDB scandal. A butcher claimed a trial in the Balik Pulau Magistrates Court today to driving his car under the influence of alcohol or drugs, thus causing serious injury to 2 individuals, including a sports marshal who was rendered an invalid 2 years ago. Tan Boon Piu, 36, is alleged to have committed the offence at Jalan Sultan Azlan Shah near Balik Pulau on 9th December 2018 at 4:10 a.m., causing motorcyclist Lee Fu Beng, 51, and his pillion rider, a Form 4 student, to be flung from the middle lane to the fast lane. The motorcyclist sustained head injuries while the student's legs were broken in the incident. Lee was a marshal at the Penang Amateur Athletic Association annual Round the Island Relay held on the same day, while the pillion rider was a participant in the same marathon. It is understood that Lee, who is still incapacitated, is being cared for by his older brother. Tan was charged under Section 44, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987, which carries a maximum penalty of 20,000 ringgit and 10 years imprisonment. Magistrate Nur Azuin Abdul Muati fixed 21st February for the next mention of the case, while allowing Tan bail of 8,000 ringgit and ordering the suspension of the accused's license until the conclusion of the case. About 1,500 police officers and personnel will be deployed to ensure that Thaipusam celebration goes on smoothly tomorrow. Timor Laut Police Chief ACP Sofian Santong said this involves maintaining the safety of road users and traffic control.
Penugasan-penugasan telah ditetapkan adalah termasuk kawalan lalu lintas, kawalan keselamatan, pondok-pondok payung keselamatan, rondaan bermotosikal URB dan juga rondaan pejalan kaki. Kita seramai 1,500 petugas ini kita telah mendapatkan bantuan daripada pasukan simpanan persekutuan, pasukan gerakan AM, daripada kontingen-kontingen bersebelahan seperti Perak dan Kedah, pasukan polis Marine dan lain-lain bantuan.
According to ACP Sofian, about 1 million Hindus are expected to descend on Pulau Pinang for Thaipusam celebration. Now, Sabah police have identified the suspect involved in a shooting incident at Kampung Lok Urai on Pulau Gaya on Wednesday, which led to 2 children among 3 people sustaining serious injuries. Kota Kinabalu District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Habibi Majinji said the suspect, identified as Kachang, is believed to be hiding somewhere on the island. Speaking to the media in Kota Kinabalu, ACP Habibi said the motive of the incident may have been personal, but further investigation is ongoing.
Dapat maklumat kedudukan suspek, diharap bagi kerjasama pihak polis maklumkan kepada bilik gerakan IPD Kota Kinabalu.
He said initial investigations found that the shots were fired from a distance of about 15 meters from the victims. 2 children, aged 3 and 10, were left injured in the incident. Another victim, aged 36, was shot in the knee. The man was taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and was reported to be in stable condition, while the children were treated at Sabah Women and Children Hospital. According to ACP Habibi, the case is being investigated under Section 307 of the Penal Code for attempted murder. A woman and her 2 children were crushed to death by an oil palm tree which had fallen on their motorcycle as they were travelling down Lorong Haji Ayub, Jalan Batu Putih in Batu Pahat, Johor early this morning. Now, the deceased in the 8:30 a.m. accident were the 48-year-old woman identified as Nur Azhana Othman and her 2 children, 12-year-old Muhammad Arif Hasanuddin and 17-year-old Siti Nur Inshirah, who died of their injuries at the scene. A statement released by the Johor Fire and Rescue Department said the trio were believed to have been travelling from Parit Siba when the 2.5-metre tall tree fell on them. The statement also said that 2 fire engines with 19 personnel were immediately rushed to the scene after they received an emergency call on the accident. It took about 1 hour for the rescuers to extricate the victims from under the tree and clear the debris. The statement further noted that the bodies of all 3 victims were handed over to the police for further investigations. Coming up in sports, momentous victory for young Fedorov in Le Tour de Langkawi opening stage. Now, Perak and Kedah will once again lock horns in the 2020 Unity Shield, this time at the Perak Stadium on 15th February. Perak Football Association, or PAFA, Honorary Secretary Mohammad Azlin Mohammad Nazri said the match would be the best opportunity to avenge the Bosgaros' 2-0 defeat at the inaugural edition played at Alu Stars Darul Aman Stadium on 13th January last year. In addition, Mohammad Azlin said the Unity Shield would also be used by the coaches to gauge the compatibility of pair-up players before the start of the Malaysia League. Speaking to reporters at the PAFA office in Ipoh, he also said that this match would also be a good platform to gather thousands of Perak and Kedah fans in particular.
Pada 15 hari bulan ini nanti, kita juga akan mengenakan cas tiket yang minima, iaitu hanya RM10 untuk teres terbuka dan RM5 untuk kanak-kanak.
The Unity Shield is the brainchild of Kedah Football Association President Datuk Sri Mukhris Made to strengthen ties between the two teams and takes place in either Ipoh or Alustar. Mohammad Azlin said proceeds from the ticket sales would be donated to former Perak players who are facing hardship to help ease their burden. On the introduction of players and the team's kit, he said it would be done before the new Malaysia League campaign kicks off on 28th February. He added that the date and venue have not yet been finalized and it would be done on a small scale. The Petronas Yamaha Sepang racing team revealed its liveries for the 2020 MotoGP season as the team is expected to maintain last season's amazing performance ahead of the campaign. Now, the team achieved an unbelievable performance in their Premier Class debut in 2019 after finishing fourth in the team's standing, while its rider Fabio Quartararo of France emerged as the Rookie of the Year and ended the season in fifth place. Petronas Yamaha SRT team principal Datuk Razlan Razali said the team was aiming to improve in every aspect despite the higher expectations and pressure. Speaking on riders' motivation, Datuk Razlan believed both Quartararo and his teammate Franco Morbidelli of Italy are set to put up a challenge in the new season. With Quartararo already having secured his position with Yamaha until 2022, the Petronas Yamaha SRT team principal said it would be a perfect boost for Morbidelli to step up his race throughout the season. Young Kazakh rider Yevgeny Fedorov pulled off a sensational victory for pro team Vino Astana Motors in the opening stage of the 2020 Le Tour de Langkawi cycling race at Padang Merdeka in Kuching, Sarawak today. Now, the 19-year-old rider, who is a mountain specialist, defeated SEA Games individual time trial champion Turakit Buntananatanakon of Thailand in the final 500 meters to the finish line in today's race, involving a distance of 85.6 kilometers with 4 loops around Kuching city. Fedorov clocked 1 hour 51 minutes and 1 second, followed by Bun Ratana Tanakon in second place with 1 hour 51 minutes 4 seconds, while Team Sapura cycling rider Ahmed Orken of Turkey came in third out of 123 riders overall by clocking 1 hour 52 minutes 18 seconds with the remaining top 7 finishers. To add icing on the cake, Fedorov, who's also the reigning Asian Under-23 individual time trial champion, claimed 3 jerseys: yellow jersey, green jersey and the white jersey. Equally exuberant was Bun Ratana Tanakon, who was delighted with the podium finish in today's race under the blazing heat. Now, the second stage of the 2020 LTDL, to be held tomorrow, involves a distance of 175.5 kilometers, featuring 3 sprint zones in Chendaring, Rantau Abang and Bandar Al Muktafi Billah Shah. And that concludes this evening's News on 2. In our top story today, fuel prices down across the board. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Mohan Priya. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a great evening.